The forest was silent, only the sound of wind moving through tall silver trees. The light of 2 moons fell across the valley, giving the land a strange glow. Hidden behind thick vines, a group of alien females watched carefully. Their golden eyes followed every movement of the stranger who had entered their world. He was tall, wearing strange armor that shone under the moonlight. A weapon was strapped to his back, and his boots left deep marks in the soil. The females had never seen such a being before. They lived all their lives inside the valley, protected by rules. The elders had warned them, no outsiders must ever be trusted. But curiosity burned stronger than fear. One of them whispered in their soft alien tongue, "What is he?" Her voice was shaking. She pressed her hand against the chest of her sister, her heart beating fast. Another female leaned closer. "He is not like us. Look at his shape, his shoulders, his face." "So strange." The soldier moved slowly, looking around with cautious eyes. His hand stayed close to his sidearm, but he did not draw it. He did not know he was being watched. The females followed his steps from shadow to shadow, their breaths held back. They had seen travelers from other worlds before, traders, hunters, and sometimes enemies. But this one was different. His presence was heavier. His aura made the air feel charged, almost dangerous, yet also fascinating. One of the younger females could not control herself. She stepped forward, the vines brushing against her silver hair. Her skin glowed faintly in the moonlight. Her sisters tried to pull her back, but she shook her head. "I must see him," she whispered. The soldier stopped, his instincts warned him. He turned quickly, his hand on his weapon. His eyes scanned the trees. He heard the crack of a branch, the soft rustle of movement. His voice was steady but firm. "Who's there?" The females froze, their eyes widened. They understood nothing of his words, yet his tone carried power. For the first time in their lives, they felt the presence of something beyond their own kind. The brave female stepped out fully now. She raised her hand slowly, showing no weapon. Her glowing eyes fixed on him, the soldier blinked. Surprised by her beauty and strangeness, her skin carried faint blue lines like living patterns of light. Her hair moved as if touched by an unseen breeze. Behind her, the others whispered in fear, "Come back. He is dangerous." But she ignored them. She took one more step closer. The soldier watched carefully. He lowered his hand from the weapon, but his muscles stayed tense. The silence between them was heavy. The girl tilted her head, studying his face. She had never seen a male, not in any form. Her people lived apart. Their stories spoke of war long ago, when males disappeared from their kind. Some said they were cursed. Some said they were hunted until none remained. And now here stood a being that reminded her of those forbidden tales. She reached out slowly, her fingers trembling. The soldier did not move. He allowed her hand to touch his arm. Her skin was warm against the cold metal of his armor. She gasped softly. Her sisters gasped louder from the shadows. "His skin is real," she whispered in awe. Her eyes grew wide. She tugged at his sleeve. Pulling the fabric slightly, she wanted to see beneath. Her courage grew as curiosity took over. The soldier exhaled slowly. He understood now. These were not enemies, at least not yet. They were. Afraid, curious, testing him. He raised his free hand slowly, palm open, showing peace. "I won't hurt you," he said, his voice calm. The words meant nothing to her, but the tone was gentle. She smiled faintly, her teeth small and sharp. Her sisters whispered louder, fear mixing with wonder. Some stepped back, some leaned forward, caught between terror and desire to know more. The soldier stood firm, not moving back. His eyes stayed on the brave female who touched him. She pressed her hand harder against his chest plate. Feeling the rhythm of his breath, her glowing eyes lifted. Locking with his, for a long moment the world was silent. Only the sound of wind through the trees carried across the valley. Then one of the other females suddenly broke the silence. Her fear turned into action. She rushed forward and grabbed his other arm roughly. Tugging, pulling, testing if he was flesh or machine. Another one stepped in, touching his face quickly before darting back with a sharp gasp. The soldier's heart raced. He stayed calm, but his mind was alert. They were surrounding him now. Their glowing eyes reflected the moons. Their voices rose in a strange harmony of fear and fascination. He realized in that moment this was not just a meeting. It was the beginning of something far larger. Their world had never seen a male before, and now, their eyes were filled with a mix of shock, hunger for answers, and something deeper. The first sight was no simple encounter. It was the start of a storm, a clash of two worlds that would never be the same again. The soldier stood still, his breath slow but sharp. Around him, the alien females moved like shadows, their glowing eyes fixed on him. Some faces showed fear. Others showed hunger for knowledge. They had never touched a being like him before. One of them, braver than the rest, pressed her palm against his skin again. Her fingers traced the strange fabric of his uniform. She whispered in her tongue, "So warm, so alive." Her sisters leaned closer, curiosity burning brighter than their fear. But not all were calm. A taller alien female hissed in warning. Her skin glowed brighter as her nerves rose. She pulled her younger sister back. "Do not touch him, he is danger. He will bring ruin." Her voice was sharp, trembling with old memories of stories told by the elders. The soldier watched their gestures. He could not understand their language, but he understood tone. Some wanted him close. Others wanted him gone. He kept his stance steady. Hands raised slightly to show no threat. Suddenly, one of the females stepped forward, her eyes locked on the weapon at his back. In one swift move, she tried to grab it. The soldier reacted fast, his hand snapping down to stop her. The clash of skin against glove sent a spark of shock through both. The females gasped. Some fell back. Others rushed forward. A circle formed around him, voices rising like the hum of a storm. Their curiosity had turned into chaos. Fear and wonder were mixing into something dangerous. The brave one, the same who touched him first, raised her voice above the others. "Wait," she shouted in her language. Her tone carried command. The others slowed, their glowing eyes turning toward her. She placed her hand on his chest again. Steadying the moment, the soldier's heart pounded. But he let her touch remain. His instincts told him this one was different. She wanted peace, not war. He slowly knelt down, lowering himself to their height. His weapon still strapped behind him, his hands open, his eyes calm. The alien females stared in silence. Never before had a creature humbled itself before them. In their world, lowering one's stance was a sign of trust. The brave female's eyes widened. She whispered, almost to herself, "He trusts us." She reached for his arm, gently lifting the sleeve. The others leaned in closer. They wanted to see what lay beneath the strange cloth. Slowly, she pulled the sleeve up, revealing the soldier's bare skin under the moonlight. A sharp breath escaped her lips. His skin was rougher, thicker than theirs. His veins showed faintly, pulsing with life. Another female gasped, "He bleeds." "Like us." She pinched the skin lightly. He winced but did not move. The soldier stayed calm, his mind raced, but he allowed them to explore. He knew showing fear could turn this into disaster. Then the most shocking moment came. The brave one took a small shard of crystal from her belt, its edge sharp like a knife. She whispered something to her sisters, then, without warning, she pressed the edge against his arm and cut gently. The soldier tensed but did not fight. A thin line of red blood appeared, running down his skin. The alien females cried out in shock. Their voices filled the forest. "Red! His blood is red." They stepped back, trembling, their glowing eyes widened. Some whispered that he was cursed, others whispered that he was chosen. In their stories, red was the color of war and of destiny. The soldier pressed his hand against the cut. His eyes steady, he did not attack, did not run. He only watched them. His calmness stunned them more than the blood itself. The brave female stepped forward again, her hand shaking as she touched the blood. It stained her glowing fingers. She held it up to the light of the moons, her voice trembled. "He is real, not a ghost, not a machine, not a monster." The others murmured louder, their fear fighting against curiosity. One of them shouted, "No! He is danger." The elders said no male should ever return, he will bring the storm. But another female, younger, whispered back, "Then why does he not fight us? Why does he not kill?" The soldier stayed kneeling, his eyes calm, his body still. His silence spoke louder than words. The brave female looked at her sisters, then back at him. Her chest rose and fell quickly. Her heart was at war with her mind. Curiosity and fear tore her apart, but in that moment, she knew one truth. This human was different. She dropped the crystal shard, letting it fall to the soil. The sound echoed like a bell. All the females fell silent. Their glowing eyes followed her action. She had chosen to trust him. The soldier took a deep breath. He slowly reached into his pocket. The females tensed again, hands ready to strike. But he pulled out only a small silver packet. He tore it open and held it out to them. Inside was a piece of human ration. The brave one tilted her head, sniffing the air. She stepped closer, her glowing patterns brightening with hesitation. She took the food from his hand and bit it. Her eyes widened. The taste was strange but not poison. She smiled faintly. The other females gasped. A ripple of shock went through them. The brave one looked at her sisters and whispered, "He gives, he does not take." The forest went quiet again, but this silence was not of fear. It was of something new, curiosity deepening into respect. The soldier knew this was only the beginning. The test was not over. Their eyes still burned with questions, and he felt the weight of destiny pressing heavier on his shoulders. The night had grown colder, but the valley was now filled with a fire. Not of flames, but of wonder, fear, and curiosity danced together, writing the first lines of a story that would change both their worlds forever. The night grew colder, mist curling along the ground like silver smoke. The human soldier still knelt, calm and steady, while the alien female circled him. Their glowing eyes reflected the twin moons, fear and wonder mixing in their gazes. They had touched his skin, they had seen his blood, but still they were not sure, was he truly alive, or some kind of weapon sent to trick them? The elders had warned them. Outsiders always bring danger, and here was the greatest danger of all. One of the taller females stepped closer. Her hair shimmered like threads of light. In her hand she held a curved spear carved from crystal. She pointed it toward him, not striking but testing. Her voice rang out in their language, sharp and cold. "If he bleeds, he can die. If he dies, he is nothing special," the others murmured. Some nodded, others shook their heads. The brave female who had first touched him stepped between the spear and the soldier. Her hands wide in defense, her voice rose with urgency. "No, he is not like the others. Look at him. He does not fight us. He does not run," but the tall one's eyes narrowed. "Then let him prove himself." The soldier did not know their words, but he knew the tone. He could see the spear's sharp edge and the heated argument in their glowing faces. His instincts screamed to fight or escape, but he forced himself still. He had learned already. His calmness was the only thing keeping him alive. The tall female pressed the spear closer. Just an inch from his throat, the others held their breath. The soldier did not flinch. His eyes locked with hers, steady and unyielding. She growled, frustrated, "He does not fear." She drew back slightly, then suddenly thrust the spear to the side, slicing a mark into the soil beside his knee. The sound cracked the silence. The younger females gasped. Their voices trembled. He did not move, he stayed like stone. The tall one's lips tightened. "Then we test again." She gestured, and two of the younger females obeyed. They stepped forward, each pulling at his armor. Their hands tugged at the straps, their fingers sliding under the cold plates. The soldier allowed it, though his muscles tightened. He knew resisting would break the fragile balance. Piece by piece, they stripped away parts of his armor. A shoulder plate fell, then another. The sound of metal striking the ground echoed. They wanted to see the man beneath the shell. The brave female's eyes widened as more of his body was revealed. His chest broad and firm, his skin scarred with old marks, proof of battles long past. She reached out and touched one scar gently. Her breath caught. "He has fought before." The others leaned closer. Some touched his arms, some his face, testing every part of him. They pulled at his hair, tugged his beard, they laughed nervously, surprised that it was real, that he was real. Then came the hardest test. One of the older females brought a bowl carved from stone. Inside was a glowing liquid, sacred water from their valley. She placed it before him and gestured firmly. Her voice carried weight. "Drink." The soldier stared at the bowl. The liquid shimmered strangely. Was it safe? Or was this their way of seeing if he could survive their world? His throat was dry, his body tense, but he understood. This was no simple drink. This was a test of trust. Slowly, he lifted the bowl. His reflection wavered in the glowing liquid. The females leaned forward, their eyes unblinking. He brought it to his lips and drank. The taste was sharp, bitter. Like fire and frost together, it burned down his throat. His body shivered, his stomach twisted. For a moment he thought he would collapse, but he forced himself steady. He finished the bowl and placed it back down. The females gasped. Their glowing eyes widened, one whispered, "He drinks the sacred fire and lives," another trembled. Then, maybe he is chosen. The tall one's face hardened, but even she could not deny what they saw. He had passed the test. The brave female stepped closer. her hand resting on his shoulder now. Her voice soft, filled with awe. He is strong, he is patient. He is not like the beasts. The soldier's chest rose and fell heavily. He did not understand their words. But he could feel the shift. Their fear was still there. But now there was something new. Respect. But just as the moment seemed to soften, a sound split the night. From the far side of the valley came a deep roar. The ground trembled faintly. The females froze, their glowing eyes snapping toward the forest. Something was coming, something big. The tests of curiosity were over. The test of survival was about to begin. The soldier's instincts sharpened. He rose slowly to his feet, armor still loose, blood still drying on his arm. His hand moved toward his weapon, his eyes scanning the darkness. The alien females whispered in fear. Some clutched each other. The brave one stood at his side, her patterns glowing brighter, her voice barely a whisper. Now we will see what he truly is. The roar still echoed in the valley. Fading slowly into silence, the alien females held their breath, watching the shadows of the forest. But nothing came. Only the wind stirred the leaves. The soldier stood tall now, weapon ready, his eyes sharp. Yet before danger from the forest could appear, another danger stepped into the clearing. From behind the trees came figures older, stronger and heavier with authority. The elders of the tribe, their skin glowed brighter, their hair marked with silver. Their presence was heavy, commanding silence at once. The young females gasped and stepped back. Fear showed in their glowing eyes. They bowed their heads low, whispering, "The elders. They have seen." The soldier stayed still. But his instincts tensed. He could feel the difference. These were not curious girls. These were leaders, guardians of tradition. Their eyes burned with suspicion. One elder stepped forward, his staff glowing faintly in the moonlight. His voice was deep, carrying across the valley like thunder. "What have you done?" he demanded in their alien tongue. "You touched him, you tested him. You broke the laws of our kind." The brave young female lifted her head, trembling but firm. "Elder, he is not like the stories. He is not a beast. He does not harm us." The elder's eyes narrowed. "You are blind, child, do you not see? His blood is red, his form is cursed. Long ago we cast out such beings. We swore never to let them return." The soldier could not understand the words, but he felt the weight of the voices, the sharp gestures. The glowing staff pointed toward him like a weapon. He raised his hand slightly, showing he meant no harm. But the elders saw his calmness as arrogance. One spat on the ground. "Look at him. He kneels to no one. He bows to no one. Already he disrespects us." The brave female stepped closer to the soldier, shielding him with her small frame. Her voice shook but held courage. "No, elder, he knelt before us. He drank the sacred fire, he showed respect. He passed our test." A wave of whispers spread among the younger females. Some nodded in agreement, remembering the soldier's patience and strength. But the elders slammed their staffs against the ground. The sound cracked the silence. "Enough!" Another elder stepped forward, her voice sharp and cold. "You are foolish girls enchanted by a trick, do you not see? He is male. His kind brought ruin to our people. His kind brought war. They cannot be trusted." The soldier's eyes shifted. He could not understand their language, but he understood hostility. His grip tightened slightly on his weapon. His mind raced. Should he fight? Should he flee? The brave female turned back to him, her eyes glowing with urgency. She whispered softly, "Do not move, do not fight. They fear you already if you fight. They will kill you." The soldier held his stance, his breath slow, trusting her words, though he barely understood her tone. The elders raised their staffs higher, power humming in the air. They prepared to mark him as enemy, to strike him down before the tribe. The younger females cried out, "Wait! He saved us, he shared food, he showed peace." But the elders did not listen. Their culture had no place for doubt. To them he was danger, a shadow of the past. The brave one's heart raced. She could not let them harm him. She stepped forward, her voice rising with all her strength. "If you call him enemy, then you call me traitor. For I touched him first, I trusted him. If you strike him, you must strike me too." The clearing went silent. The elders froze, shocked by her defiance. Never before had one of the young challenged them so openly. The other females stared wide-eyed, torn between fear and admiration. The soldier's chest tightened. He could see her trembling. Standing between him and power she could not defeat. Something inside him stirred. Something deeper than duty. He stepped forward. placing himself at her side. The elders glared. See? Already he has taken her loyalty. Already he corrupts our young. The brave female looked at the soldier, her eyes wet with fear yet glowing with hope. Stay, she whispered, do not leave. They must see with their own eyes you are not a curse. You are not a beast. The elders raised their staffs again. The air crackled with light, the younger females screamed. Some tried to run, others clutched each other. The soldier felt the weight of decision. Fight back and risk war, or stay still and risk death. His heart pounded. His hand brushed against his weapon. His eyes locked with the brave female's glowing gaze. The valley trembled with silence, suspense thicker than the mist. And then, before the strike could fall, the roar returned, louder, closer. Shaking the ground beneath their feet, trees shook, the earth split slightly. Something massive was moving through the forest. The elders turned sharply, their staffs lowered in shock. The younger females cried out, clinging to one another. The soldier's hand tightened on his weapon. His instincts clear now, danger was coming. Not from the tribe, but from outside. The brave female's voice shook as she whispered, now. He must prove not only to us, but to the elders too. The ground shook again, heavier this time. The roar rolled across the valley like thunder. Trees bent, birds scattered into the night sky. The alien females clung to each other, their glowing patterns flickering with fear. Even the elders stepped back, their staffs trembling in their hands. The human soldier turned, his eyes sharp and focused. His training told him danger was near. His instincts screamed to move, to fight. His hand gripped his weapon, the cold steel a comfort in the storm of fear. From the shadows of the forest came the sound of heavy steps. Branches snapped, leaves flew. A massive beast emerged, its body covered in dark scales, its eyes glowing like burning coals. Its mouth opened wide, showing rows of jagged teeth. The females gasped in terror. Some screamed, others fell to the ground. The elders raised their staffs, sending weak waves of glowing light toward the creature. But the beast barely slowed. It growled louder, charging toward the tribe. The soldier's heart pounded. He could run. He could escape into the forest and save himself. It was the logical choice. He owed nothing to these strangers. They had tested him, judged him, nearly condemned him. But his eyes fell on the brave young female standing frozen near him. Her hands shook. Her glowing patterns flickered weakly. She had defended him against her own people. She had believed in him when no one else did. He could not leave her. The soldier raised his weapon. His voice cut through the chaos. "Stay behind me!" The aliens did not understand his words, but they understood his stance. His body shielded them as the beast roared and lunged forward. The ground shook with every step of the monster. The soldier's training took over. He aimed carefully, breathing steady. He fired. The blast echoed across the valley. The shot struck the beast in its shoulder, making it stumble. The female screamed. Not at him, but at the sound, the fire, the power. They had never seen such a weapon. To them, it was as if he had called lightning from his hands. The beast roared in pain, swinging its massive tail. It smashed into the ground, throwing dirt and stones into the air. The soldier rolled to the side, then fired again. His second shot pierced deeper, but the beast was strong, far stronger than anything he had fought before. The elders shouted commands, their staffs glowing brighter. But their power was weak against the monster's fury. Their attacks burned like sparks on its skin, useless. The brave female screamed as the beast lunged toward her. The soldier did not think. He threw himself forward, shoving her out of the way. The monster's claws slashed across his arm, tearing flesh. His blood sprayed red into the moonlight. He gritted his teeth, pain burning, but he did not fall. He raised his weapon one last time, aiming straight into the beast's open mouth. The blast lit the night. Fire and smoke filled the air. The beast gave a final roar, shaking the valley, then collapsed with a crash that split the ground. Silence followed, heavy, endless silence. The soldier dropped to one knee, his arm bleeding badly, his weapon smoking in his hand. The alien female stared at him with wide, glowing eyes, shock written across their faces. The elders lowered their staffs slowly. Unable to speak, the brave female rushed to him. Kneeling beside him, her glowing hands pressed against his wound. Her voice trembled. Why did you save me?" He looked at her, sweat running down his face, his voice rough but steady. "Because you saved me first." The words meant little to her in language, but the tone carried everything. She felt it in her chest, her eyes grew wet. The elders finally spoke. their voices heavy with disbelief. "He fought for us. He protected us," the younger females whispered among themselves, awe filling their voices. "He faced the beast alone. He shed blood for us. He is not a curse." The soldier struggled to his feet, his wound burning, his body weak, but his stance strong. He looked around at them all, his eyes calm, steady, waiting for their judgment. The elders exchanged glances. Their world had told them males were dangerous, cursed, forbidden. But what they had just seen could not be denied. He had made a choice not to flee, not to fight them, but to stand with them. The brave female stepped forward, standing at his side, her glowing patterns bright as fire. She raised her voice. "He chose to protect us. He chose to stay. That is no curse. That is honor." The valley was silent. The moons shone bright overhead. The human soldier stood bleeding but unbroken. The alien tribe stood staring, their world shaken, their belief shattered, and deep inside, all of them knew this was no longer just a meeting of strangers. This was the beginning of change. The clash of cultures had started, and nothing would ever return to the way it was before. The beast's body lay still, smoke rising from its wounds. The ground was broken where it had fallen. The air smelled of blood, fire, and fear. The alien females huddled together, their glowing eyes wide, their hearts still pounding from the terror. Yet their eyes were not fixed on the dead beast. They were fixed on the human soldier. He stood tall despite his bleeding arm. His chest rose and fell heavily. Sweat ran down his face. But his eyes remained calm. He had not run. He had not abandoned them. He had fought and won. The brave female was still by his side. Her glowing hands pressed against his wound. Her voice trembled. "Stay still. You are hurt." She tried to cover the cut with a piece of her own cloth. Her fingers shook, but her touch was gentle. The soldier did not push her away. He let her care for him. His eyes scanned the tribe. Waiting for what they would do, he knew. This was the moment. Their judgment would decide his fate. The elders stood in silence, their staffs lowered, their faces heavy with conflict. For many years they had taught their people that males were cursed, that they brought destruction. Yet here stood a male who had saved them with his own blood. One elder's voice broke the silence. Deep and uncertain, he killed the beast. He saved the young. His words carried more doubt than conviction. Another elder shook her head. "Do not be fooled. One act does not erase the danger. He is still not of us. His blood is still red." The younger females cried out in protest. "But he fought for us." He could have run, but he stayed. Their glowing eyes turned toward the soldier with awe. He was no longer just a strange creature. He was now their protector. The brave female rose to her feet, standing beside him like a shield, her voice strong despite the trembling of her heart. "Elders, you saw with your own eyes, he bled for us, he risked his life for us. How can you call him cursed when his courage saved us all?" The elders did not answer. Their silence was heavy, filled with doubt and pride clashing together. The soldier looked at the brave female. He did not know her words, but he knew her meaning. He gave a small nod, silent gratitude in his eyes. The tribe murmured, their whispers grew louder, spreading like fire through dry grass. Some still feared him, some doubted, but more and more voices carried awe. He is strong. He is brave. He is not like the stories. The turning point had begun. The soldier, weak from blood loss, lowered himself to sit against a fallen tree. The brave female knelt again, wrapping cloth tighter around his arm. Her eyes stayed on him, soft yet burning with determination. "Do not leave us," she whispered. "Not now." He watched her carefully. Her glowing patterns shone brighter with every word. He could not understand, but he felt her plea. It was more than curiosity now, it was trust. Suddenly, a younger female stepped forward. She held out a small bowl of glowing water, the same sacred liquid used in rituals. Her hands trembled as she offered it to him. The tribe gasped. This was a gesture of acceptance. The soldier looked at the bowl, then at the faces around him. He took it slowly, raised it to his lips, and drank. The bitter fire burned his throat again, but he did not show weakness. He finished and placed the bowl back in her hands. The females whispered louder. "He drinks again. He accepts our bond." Their eyes glowed brighter in the dark. The elders shifted uncomfortably. One growled, "You are foolish. This bond will bring ruin." But even they could feel the tribe's heart shifting. The fear was no longer in control. The brave female rose again. Facing the elders, her voice rang clear. You call him danger, but I call him hope. For many seasons we have hidden, we have feared the outside, but tonight, he stood for us when even your staffs could not.
The soldier leaned his head back, closing his eyes for a moment. His strength was fading, but inside, he felt something grow. He was no longer just a stranger. He was becoming part of their story. The tribe fell silent, all eyes on the elders, waiting for their decision. But before judgment could fall, the distant sound of drums carried through the valley. Deep, heavy, coming closer, the elders froze, their glowing faces darkening. The rival clan, one whispered, fear in her voice. The soldier opened his eyes, scanning the horizon. He knew that sound. It was the rhythm of war. He looked at the brave female beside him, her eyes wide with fear yet filled with fire. The turning point had not ended. It had only begun. Now, the human soldier would not only face the trust of a tribe, but the threat of an entire world.